Hello, Group 401. This is weekly feedback number 3. So I'm just going to cover some important points from the activities this week. So first, I'm going to talk about writing effective sentences and some tips on how to do that. So first, you always want to try to build up your vocabulary on a daily basis and look up any words that you don't know. So let's say you're reading something online, you don't know a word. What I recommend and what many people do is you click on the word, for example, and you search on Google or you search in your dictionary, look up the meaning and try to memorize that. That way, the next time you see it, you'll know what it means. And little by little, that way, you'll expand your vocabulary. And then when you write, it's going to help you to write better sentences with better words. That's one way. Another thing that you can do is avoid repetition. So repetition is when you write a sentence and you use the same word too many times. So instead of that, you can use a thesaurus. You can Google thesaurus and you can find one online for free. What you would do then is if you detect that you are using a word too many times in your sentences, take that word, type it into the thesaurus, and look at the other words that it gives you. What a thesaurus does, it's going to provide you with other words that have the same meaning as the word that you typed in. That way, you are still expressing the same thoughts in your sentences, but now you're doing so through a variety of words, and that makes your writing more interesting and more attractive to read. So again, another good tip is to use a thesaurus. You can get them online for free. A third tip is you should read your own writing after you have written it and try to hear how it would sound to someone else. So read it out loud to yourself and try to pretend that you're someone else listening and see how it would sound to them. That'll maybe help you get a new perspective on what you have written and identify problems. A fourth tip would be to try to use very precise and concise language. So instead of saying, for example, I heard a loud noise outside, I heard a roar outside. So instead of using two words, loud noise, we used roar. We used one word. So we are being more precise, we're using fewer words, and basically we're more accurate, more efficient. So you want to be efficient in your sentences. So a fifth tip that I can give you is to pay attention to grammar, especially commas, capitalization, and punctuation. Because when you make mistakes in those areas, the writing is not as pleasant to read. Sometimes it actually loses the meaning that you intended. So again, it's very important to be careful with commas, capitalization, and punctuation. Punctuation refers to periods at the end of sentences. Commas, we're going to have an activity on commas, so you'll have plenty of experience with that this week. And of course, capitalization is just capitalizing the beginning of your sentences, proper nouns, and things like that. So next, I'm going to talk about similes and metaphors. We also have an activity on that coming up. So I'm going to explain the difference and how you can know which one is which. It's very simple. So if you see an expression using the word like or the word as to compare two things, it's a simile. And if you see something else, like a figurative expression, and it's not using like or as, but instead is directly stating a comparison without like or as, it's a metaphor. So again, metaphors are comparing two things without like or as, and a simile is comparing two things using the words like or as. So that's a very quick way to tell them apart. One more thing, just remember that May 15th is a holiday, so we won't have our usual reunion on Zoom, but we'll have the next one on May 22nd, like we were talking about yesterday before the call got cut off. So please keep that in mind. And if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you on the 22nd. And just try to stick to the turn-in days on the guide that you received.